On this week's episode of Fishing 411 TV, Mark and Jake Romanek focus on southern Lake Michigan's seasonal salmon fishery. During the winter months, the salmon population of Lake Michigan migrate to the southernmost part of the lake. It's here that the water temperatures are a little warmer, and alewife, the primary forage species for salmon, also spend the winter. As soon as the ice melts from the boat launches, Mark and Jake hit the water to show viewers how effective the Yakima 3.5 mag-lip plug can be on salmon during the spring of the year. Trolling with the help of planer boards, lead core line, and downriggers has the boys busy fighting fish constantly.
The setting for this week's show is the sister cities of Benton Harbor and St. Joe, Michigan. It's located in southwestern Michigan, and it's a very good destination for a person who's looking for salmon fishing, particularly in the springtime.
Good job! Look at fish! Look at fish! Get it, Dad! Look at fish!
When it comes to weather, I think they pretty much threw the kitchen sink at us today. We got up really early in the morning, drove down here, and when we arrived right at dawn, it was thunder, lightning, sheets of rain, and we actually took a snooze in the truck, took a little nap, and it just kept raining and kept raining and kept raining. Finally, we decided just to go eat breakfast, come back, it's still raining. Finally, it let up and gave us an opportunity. We had a very narrow window of opportunity to catch these fish, but fortunately, the fish were cooperative.
And Dad, looks like we got probably a coho here on the inside board. Now, the thing about fishing in the spring, especially in southern Lake Michigan, is you really never know what you're going to catch. You know, there's a lot of king salmon down here, but there's also just as many cohos to be caught. And the kings are more fun, there's no doubt about it. They're scream and drag, and they're a lot of fun. They fight super hard. But cohos are about as good as it gets for table fare. So I don't mind catching a few cohos in a day to put on the grill. They're delicious. Hey, Dad, you want to pull that board off for me?
I will.
You know, I caught this fish here on leg core, more specifically a 7 color of leg core. And if you haven't fished leg core before and you want to learn how to open water troll in the Great Lakes, you need to learn how to fish leg core. Super effective for getting down to the depths of where these salmon like to live. But I put it off to the side with an OR12 side planer from Offshore Tackle. You know, a lot of guys like to fish those bigger planer boards, but the truth of the matter is if you're going to fish anything under a 10 color of leg core, there's really no need to fish those big boards. They just pull harder, and this OR12 pulls leg core out to the side beautifully. You'll see from the footage today, these boards are out to the side. There's no question when you got a fish on. Well, you know, this fish right here came on a mag-lip 3.5. You can see it right there. And it's probably one of my favorite plugs to fish. It's one of the most versatile plugs that we fish. It's really good in the river, and it's really good out in the lake. I like fishing it on my board lines, but I fish it on my inside board lines. My deepest leg core lines seem to work the best for me here. But that skip beat action is just killer for both cohos. You know, salmon, we catch a ton of steelhead on this plug. pretty much anything that's a trout or salmon, they love that magnet. You know, let's take a second and talk about cleaning your baits. It's a West Coast phenomenon. It's definitely not popular here in the Great Lakes, but I'm telling you, if you take the time to clean your baits in between every fish, you're gonna catch more fish. I know what you're thinking, Jake, you're crazy. Why do you need to clean your bait? And I can explain it to you pretty simple. You know, basically what I wanna do here is just lemon scent joy. I'm gonna put it on my bait right here. Lemon scent joy is cheap. This is not Jake Romanek trying to sell you a product. You can buy it at any dollar store. And then you're gonna take a scrub brush, like I got right here, and you're just gonna scrub that bait up. Basically what I'm doing is salmon are super scent-oriented fish. They really worry about the smell of a lure, and you can prove that to yourself if you ever get a chance to put a camera on a downrigger ball. You'll see so many fish come up to the bait and not eat that bait. Chances are it just doesn't smell right. You know, we could take the bait and we can put Procure on it and we can do different scents, but this one I've just been fishing clean. There's no foreign odors on this bait, and that is the point. So when I catch a fish, there's a little bit of blood on this bait, I scrub it up, it takes 2 seconds, and then I put that bait back out. I don't have to worry about it smelling funny, because king salmon seem to be chewing it today.
Special considerations provided by Eagle Claw, the only fish hooks made in America. Additional considerations provided by Fishhawk Electronics. Trolling without a fishhawk is called boating.
Got him. Got him to eat it. Got him to eat it.
Get him, Jake. Quit playing with your fish.
See fish, catch fish. If you don't ever, oh, he just came off, man. Oh no, he's still there.
He's coming
He's
towards
still there, coming towards me. If you don't ever believe in your electronics, you need to start learning to believe in it, man. We just started marking fish, and I could see my downrigger ball down there. Whoo, he's jumping. I could see my downrigger ball down there, and then went right past the mark. So I just walked up and I tapped that rod, and boom, that fish ate it. That's the second time I've been able to do that today. He's all over
That's
the
pretty
place.
good fish there, Jake. Get my rigger line out of your way here. Open up a hole for you.
Woo!
If you want to bring him on my corner here, you can now.
I'm going
I
to
got it
try to
wide
swing
open
him
for
back. He's just going wherever he wants to go. Whoa! See him jumping out there,
you.
man.
Salmon. You gotta love spring kings. They got it. They got the giddy up going on. That's for sure. Now it looks like a nice spring here
Whoa!
between you guys.
I love when they swim right at you like that.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I think I got a soaker there, dude. I think I got a soaker.
Come on, baby. A little closer right there.
I swim right in the net. That's
Got
what I
him in the
like.
boat.
Putting it in the water, king swims in the net.
You know, the truth, the big kings, they fight hard. There's no question about it. But spring kings, it's like, man, they are just charged up. Even kings this size, they just never quit from the time that they bite to the time they're in the boat. You know, that fish also bit on a spoon. That downrigger today, Dad, has been pretty hot. It's caught a lot of our fish.
That spoon's been red hot. I gotta dig around and find another one of those.
Yes, sir. You know, downriggers are probably one of the most popular ways for catching trout and salmon in the Great Lakes, and it's pretty simple. It gets your lures down to depth super fast. But the one thing you'll hear guys talk about is they'll talk about how far their lead is off the ball. What they mean by that is whether they're using a spoon or really whatever presentation they're using, how far that lead or how far away the lure is away from the downrigger ball itself. Now in the Great Lakes, it's been clearer and clearer, so we've been running longer and longer leads off the ball, and in most cases, a lot of times we'll run 50 or 75-foot leads off the downrigger ball just to fish more stealthy. But here in southern Lake Michigan, the water's a little bit more color to it, and so I actually like to run the leads very short off the downrigger ball in the springtime. The reason for that is it actually gives more snap and more action to the spoons. So let me put this in the water real quick and I'll explain what I'm talking about. But basically all I'm going to do is put the spoon in the water and I'm going to run it literally 10 to 15 feet away from the ball. And that's pretty much how we used to do it back in the old days when the water had a lot more color in Lake Michigan. So literally you can see the spoon back there, it's barely back behind that downrigger ball, and I'm going to hook that up to my downrigger clip. And now you can see today it's a little bit bumpy out, and what I believe is happening is when that downrigger's down at the depth, it's swinging from the cable sway and the waves, the surging of the boat, and it's actually giving more snap to that lure itself, and that's what's triggering those bites. So don't be afraid in the springtime in southern Lake Michigan to shorten those leads up to 10 to 15 foot.
If you're not familiar with leg core and how it's fished, this is something that I call a segmented leg core rig. I started with 20-pound test backing, and I got mono on here, and what I've got is 20-pound test Berkeley XT. So I put 200 yards or so of backing on first. Then what I did And then I tied on my lead core. In this case, we're using 27-pound test lead core, and I added 7 colors of that. So then after that, I have to have a leader at the terminal end. So I did another 20-pound leader, but this time it's fluorocarbon. So, and I went with about 30 feet. And then at the business end, of course, a ball bearing swivel, and in this case, a spoon. And what I've got on here today is a silver streak. There's lots of great spoons in the Great Lakes that guys use, but frankly, for 30 years I've been using silver streaks, and I've seen no need to do anything else. I've caught so many trout and salmon on silver streaks, I just have a tremendous amount of confidence in them. Jake, I'm finally getting this board back here. This guy is tiring down a little bit. Can I get a little assistance here?
Yeah, let me grab it for you. There we go. Whoa! He's mad, Dad.
He's mad, huh? Whoa! He must have heard me. Must have heard me say that he was getting whooped, because he's not. You know, while Michigan has cut their stocking seriously, most of the stocking that they cut was in king salmon. They're still stocking a lot of cohos. But the other states that surround Lake Michigan, for example, Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin, are all still stocking cohos and king salmon. And so collectively, the number of fish that are out here is still pretty impressive. Maybe not as impressive as it was in the 80s and 90s, but still very impressive. And you can see from today, we've been not wanting for bites. We've had action steady on, even in less than ideal conditions. What a good looking fish, huh? Oh, nice job, Jake. I know that was less than perfect. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's a spring king. Holy smoke. What a beautiful fish. You know, fortunately, Jake has got long arms and he reached out and scooped this fish. That could have been disastrous, but that's king salmon fishing. You cannot control these fish. They go where they want to go. Look at it. That's horsepower. That is living horsepower right there. What a great fight and what a great fish.
Special considerations provided by Daiwa Corporation and Motor Guide. Fight fish, not your trolling motor. Special considerations provided by the Ultimate Sport Show Tour, Michigan's elite sport shows. Eagle Claw presents the 411 on fishing.
You know, Great Lakes trout and salmon fishermen have known for decades that the way to catch more fish is to monitor water temperature at depth and also trolling speed at depth. And historically, we've used a product to do this. It's made by Fishhawk. It's called the X4 Plus Depth. What it is a probe that we mount on our downrigger, we send down to depth, and it talks to a transducer that's permanently mounted to the back of the boat. And it gives us this critical information. And we use it daily to be able to catch trout and salmon. If there's an Achilles heel to this technology, is that it requires you to permanently mount a transducer to your boat, and you have to have a downrigger to deploy it. So for a long time, we've asked for another product. We'd like a temperature probe and a subsurface speed probe that could be used without permanent transducers and without downriggers. And Fishhawk has given us the product we're looking for. It's called the X2, and the beauty of it is it's the same probe that we've been using for decades, so it's tried and tested and true. And we're deploying it using a very short rod with a line counter reel, so we're getting that probe down to depth. Then we have a special transducer that just slips over your line and slides into the water just about a foot is all. And that transducer is talking to the probe. And the beauty is we get the same information. We get speed at depth and we get temperature at depth. But we don't have to have a permanent fixture. We don't have to mount it permanently to our boat. So it's ideal for the multi-species angler who's got a small boat but who wants to target trout and salmon or other species like walleye that are very temperature sensitive. So if you're looking for a depth probe and a speed probe that's portable, the X2 from Fishhawk is the product you're looking for.
I know, pull me that. There you go, fish on. Now, I don't know if you can tell from the video today, but it's a little bumpy out here, and so what we have to do is we have to fish, you know, since we're fishing out of a smaller boat, is we have to fish downwind. It's the only way we can really control our speed, and that's so important when you're salmon fishing, is keep that speed at the ball. Whew, that fish is swimming right at the boat right now. Now he's in front of the boat. Jeez.
Ready for a net there, Jake?
I think I'm just gonna alley-oop him, Dad. Just a coho here. No, a nice coho.
Oh, beautiful. Look, he kind of lassoed there.
Yeah, that's the name of the game with cohos. They love to roll. It's actually, you know, we're looking at that May time frame right now. That's a beautiful coho. Lake Michigan, you know, They're normally a little bit smaller than this size coho about this time of year. They grow so fast. You know, these fish are going to be in that 8 to 10 pound range. Just in a couple months from now, they're just feeding machines. But like I said, you know, as far as fish on the grill, it's pretty hard to beat a coho like that one right there.
Special considerations provided by Trailmaster Boat Trailers and Lakeside Motorsports. Special considerations provided by Procure, ruthlessly effective bait scents.
Got a screamer on the 7 color. I think now is kind of a good time to talk about, you're on open water. You know, you're fishing basically nothing but just a big open stretch of water. And we use our electronics to stay on fish once we found fish. And what I mean by that is we save waypoints when we catch fish. And I try to save, whenever I get a good fish on, this one right here, I try to save a waypoint to tell me that, okay, there might be a pot of fish there. And we actually caught multiple fish on this exact spot. And it's weird to think about maybe a spot on a spot, but really it's just those schools of fish. You know, we came back around, we lined back up to that waypoint of where we caught, you know, a fish before. And as soon as I got literally right on top of that waypoint, boom, another fish. So those electronics are really important to be able to duplicate and go right back over top of where you've already found a fish. Because in this big vast of open water, you just get turned around and never really know what water you actually fished and what water you haven't fished yet. That's a bowstring right there, boss.
You got that right. Give me a little help here, maybe.
Hold on.
Oh my goodness, Jake, that is a solid fish there.
Swimming towards the boat. It's another thing to talk about is, you know, I worked on a charter boat all when I was in high school for 4 years, and one of the mistakes that I saw when people were fighting king salmon is a lot of times they like to swim right at the boat. They don't like those hooks in their mouth. It doesn't feel very good. So they'll start swimming right at the boat, and a lot of people think, oh man, he got off, and they quit reeling. Whenever you get that slack, you got to reel real quick and catch right up to him again. That way you're keeping a nice tight line on that fish the whole time.
That was pretty freaky. We thought that Jake's king ran into my planer board, and so we were reeling my planer board in. Come to find out, my planer board had fired too. Now we got 2 kings on at the same time. I'm telling you, it's pretty crazy. Well, at least you got a lot of room on your side there, Jake.
Yeah, it's a nice fish, Dad. He's almost ready, so I'm probably going to need your help.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put him in the rod holder here for a second.
They fight so hard.
All right, now we're cooking.
Whoa! Just straight power. Straight power these things have, man. Absolutely kick your butt. There we go. He's coming up now, Dad. Now
Watch the cable, watch the cable.
You're gonna have to scoop her. He's gonna be gone, Dad.
I can't.
He's still on. We're good. We're good. Right here. I got it. You gotta scoop him on this side. He's on the other side of the downer too.
Okay, I'm gonna come around. I'm gonna come around this
right
side.
Here. Barely hooked. Barely hooked. Okay, I'm gonna swing him. You ready?
Yep.
I'm gonna swing him right in.
Got it. Holy smokes, Jake. That's a monster king. That is a monster king.
It's about as big as you're gonna see him.
You're not
in the
gonna get him any bigger in the spring. Oh my goodness. You get that one, I'll go get mine. I don't know what this guy's gonna do, if I can get him to the back of the boat or whether he wants to come up in front like yours did.
Oh my goodness, Dad. That is a tuna fish right there. Nice and easy.
These last couple. Woo! Again, I believe that's the 4th time that he's ran out. He's not ready to say goodnight. Oh, he wants to get in that downrigger line.
A little closer, Dad. Keep him coming.
Get him,
Right
Jake.
here, we got him.
Yeah.
Nice thing, Dad. What a fish. What a fish.
I didn't think it could possible it could be bigger than yours, but I'm thinking it might be. What an incredible
king
salmon
right there.
Oh man. Feel the burn. Feel the burn. That is a good burn.
Dad, you talk about a double, huh?
Spring king, baby. Oh my word. That might be the best doubleheader you and I have ever caught. I don't remember ever putting 2 like this back to back.
No, for sure. The Lake Michigan fishery is definitely healthy right now. There's less fish in the system, but there's a good forage base for these fish. And I don't know if I can ever remember a time in my lifetime in that May time frame catching kings like this.
Look how thick they are. Just monster stick. Hey, my name is Mark Romanek. You're watching Fishing 401. If you get a chance, fish Southern Lake Michigan and get yourself some kings like this. What an awesome experience.
Woo!
Closed captioning provided by Lakeside Motorsports, Michigan's premier marine and power sports dealer. Fishing 411 is brought to you by Offshore Tackle Company, Evinrude Outboards, Starcraft Marine, Cisco Fishing Systems, Yakima Bait, Jay's Sporting Goods, Niagara Falls, USA, Smooth Move Seats, Lowrance Electronics, and by Precision Trolling Data.
Down the bite! Oh, he just came off! Oh, dang it!
That was pretty cool. Jake thinks his popping the rod tip got him the bite. I think it was me pouring a cup of coffee, but we'll never know now.